Hello, it's Mrs. Glasson, and today we're going to discuss something so serious that getting the wrong advice could mean a pass or a fail for your child in an English exam. Now, there is a lot of rubbish written about English exams emanating, we think, from the fact that in the world of private tuition, all sorts of persons get involved in tutoring. You don't have to be a qualified teacher.
Well, that's very different, isn't it, from mainstream education, where you certainly do need to be a qualified teacher.
Indeed. And one of the most horrific pieces of advice I read and hear every year pertains to the memorising of words, phrases, or whole essays to regurgitate in an exam. And last year was no exception. Let's find out what the SEPEE thinks. So SEPEE, I was just saying that there was a question asked by a parent who was given the advice about memorising sentences and phrases for an exam that you had written, and a screenshot was provided to me. The advice was given by, let me protect their confidentiality, a tutor who runs a creative writing group who is definitely not a qualified teacher. And I've seen many tutoring companies and tutors who proudly boast in their advertising that they will teach your child to memorise words and phrases which will impress English exam markers. Well, let's ask a very experienced English exam marker. What do you think about that, SEPEE?
Well, simply, I think if you do that, you will not pass. And I would go a little further and say that I have written 11 plus exams for a group of schools, and on the website with the information, it clearly states, because I actually wrote the line, that if you compose a pre-written essay and regurgitate it in the exam, it will not attract any marks.
Interesting. So the thing is, when I posted that advice on my social media, and I know it won't surprise you, SEPEE, because you have had dealings with 11 plus tutors, have seen how they operate, some 11 plus tutors openly and without shame challenged your advice, SEPEE.
Really? Well, I wonder if those tutors ever marked real 11 plus exams, then, Mrs. Glasson.
No.
And I wonder if they've ever written real 11 plus exams.
No.
And I wonder also what experience they've had of teaching in grammar schools, Mrs. Glasson.
None, as far as I know.
And are they even qualified English teachers,
No.
Mrs. Glasson?
No, they're definitely not, SEPEE.
Well, the people who mark and write 11 plus and other English writing exams are teachers. We can always tell when students have memorised words, phrases or whole essays. Of course we can.
And on that note, haven't you experienced candidates who've answered the question that you set the year before, which had no relation to the actual question set, SEPEE?
Well, alas, Mrs. Glasson, that is true. And it happens every year. And it's the result of some unscrupulous tutor very often who has set the previous year's exam question as a task, and there's nothing wrong with that for practice. But then they've instructed their students to memorise the answer and reproduce it. And if I may just quickly add, that is increasingly the case now with A-level exams, that students answer a question which they've been asked in a mock exam or a practice exam, and not the one that's actually set in the particular year they're taking the real exam.
Astonishing. And it's a real shame for those students, because often they're just following the advice that adults have given them. And just to recap, what happens to students who memorise words, phrases and sentences or whole exam answers, SEPEE?
They fail, Mrs. Glasson.
Crystal clear. Thank you. Yes, parents, we can always tell, and as well as ruining your child's writing, it ruins their chances of passing English exams. Instant fail, as SEPEE correctly says, because what you're doing is encouraging your child to cheat. And we don't want cheats in our grammar schools. We want excellent English students.
And likewise for university and other entrance exams, English exams are a test of skill. They're not a test of memory. And if you try to memorise phrases, lines and whole answers, I'm afraid you deserve to fail.
Wise words from the SEPEE as always. Goodbye for now, and in our next video, SEPEE, we're going to discuss a real bugbear of ours, and for all creative writing markers, I would say, inappropriate and ineffective use of similes.
Oh, yes, Mrs. Glasson. And if you want to fail your English writing exam as fast as a cheetah, use cliches and trite similes.
And then you will not be as proud as a peacock, CP.
I'm afraid, indeed, you will not, Mrs. Glasson.
So tune in for the next episode of English Advice from English Experts. The video series applicable to all English students anywhere where English is taught and examined. And don't forget, if you haven't watched all of the series, they're all available in our handy playlist. Enjoy and keep those questions coming. Goodbye, CP.
Goodbye.